Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Mental Health Podcast with me, Matthew Riggs. Number one here, Ed Archer, and Chris Maddox is the owner of Attentive Apparel. Let's get into it. So, Chris, how are we doing?
I'm all right, mate. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming down. I know you've come from quite a journey.
4 hours, yeah.
Journey down. And it's not ideal, is it?
It's all right.
But, you know.
Yeah, it's
but we're in now.
So, yeah.
That's it. So
we're here, we've got biscuits, so what more do you want in life?
Yeah.
That's it.
Decent coffee.
Living the dream, isn't it?
So, obviously, you've got this brand, Attentive Apparel.
Yeah.
Which you've got now. But, I mean, obviously, what led you up to the brand? What's your backstory on, like, what have you suffered with, and that sort of bit of your story?
Yeah, so I, for years and years and years, struggled with, like, anxiety, depression, went to see loads of GPs about what's wrong with me, and I always got fobbed off with, like, antidepressants and stuff like that. So I was like, there's definitely something, there's something else. It's not just generalised anxiety, as they always call it. So then, going back about 18 months now, it was my ex actually who said, have you ever looked into like ADHD? And obviously I'd never thought ADHD was me, because it was this stigma of being like the naughty boy in school and stuff like that, which a lot of people still think it is, and they don't realise. I never realised what it actually means. Anyway, looked into it, went down a bit of a rabbit hole like I normally do. I ticked every single box, didn't realise hyperactivity could be in your head, your brain doesn't switch off. I remember saying to all these GPs who just said, oh, go on antidepressants, go to anger management, go to counselling. It's like my brain doesn't stop. Like it's constantly on the go 24/7. So then obviously TikTok was a big thing then. After that, obviously I got noticed like Nush and Chris and Sarah and people like that. So you start like reading up and listening to what they've got to say, and I'm like, I can relate to a lot of these stuff. So that's when I seek the diagnosis. Ended up getting diagnosed, also got tested for autism, because I've also got autistic traits, but didn't get diagnosed with that, and also dyslexia as well, which I didn't know dyslexia wasn't just letters and words.
No, I've got dyslexia as well, so yeah, I've suffered with that as well.
So I wanted to do something to help spread awareness. I was never any good on camera. Like the last 6 months to 12 months have been like massively, my confidence has gone through the roof. So yeah, I wanted to start a clothing brand, wanted it to be really subtle, small logo, but with a massive meaning. So the black and white brain is like perfectly how I think ADHD or autism and stuff. So all or nothing, black or white. We don't really have a bit of a grey area. So that's when Attentive come about. Started it last September. The website went live a year ago yesterday. And yeah, so the first couple of months, it was really slow. Obviously, I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Yeah. To be fair, it's quite obviously I've had the tracksuits and whatnot, and it's actually really comfy, to be fair. It's like soft and really nice clothes, so done well with that.
The hoodies came, and I was just like, these are better than any of the designer clothes I've ever owned and stuff like that. And I was just like, this is gonna go somewhere. But obviously, me being highly impulsive, and I can't.
You just want everything now, don't you?
In January, I was like, I can't be bothered with this. I sort of like felt let down by myself and stuff like that. Anyway, got a load of influence involved, Nush, Chris, Sarah, and it sort of started taking off then. So then obviously massive dopamine hits, and I'm like, this is...
I want that.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so obviously from then to now, it's come an extremely long way. Probably grown a little bit too quickly for me and my cousin, but it started to like...
You guys worse problems?
I have had worse problems, 100%. So yeah, it's just a brand. It's a sensory-friendly clothing brand, so there's no scratchy labels. Everything's dead soft, as you just said. And it's a logo that neurodivergents can recognise other neurodivergents. And obviously, as you guys know, speaking about your mental health is massive. If you can get a bit of weight off your shoulders and speak to somebody about it, it highly... significantly reduces the chance of you committing suicide.
100%. I mean, what you were just saying a minute ago regarding doctors and wanting to give antidepressants and that side of thing, I think that's like their answer for everything at the minute. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that's suffering with low testosterone and that type of thing. Genuinely, maybe not people who are going to the gym, but they are genuinely suffering with like low test and stuff like that.
Which causes depression.
And they go to the doctors and they say, oh, you've got to go on, antidepressants. Well, it's not actually that the problem. That's not the problem. No. And the thing is, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not being sexist here, by the way. Anyone listening to this, but if you was a female and you went to the doctors at a certain age and you had these certain problems, hot sweats, mood swings, this or that, straight away HRT is not an issue. and they get looked after. Where if you're a male, you go there, it's like antidepressants.
Yeah.
Because there's no awareness for it.
Yeah.
So
I thought I had too much testosterone, but then I thought no, because I've always been really skinny. So if I had too much testosterone, I'd probably be a little bit more bulky and I'd be able to put weight on a little bit more. But it was the anger side of it, which I now know is like me being overwhelmed, or I'm really sensitive to like rejection and criticism and stuff like that. Like well, I might not betray it to someone when they say it to me, but that'll play in.
Oh, you're overthinking the back.
Yeah.
Like I've got the same. Like, I know that. Like if someone says about the podcast, I don't think it's that good. Like I'm very good. I'm a good salesman. Like, not a problem. That's not for you. That's cool.
Yeah, but you go back.
I'll spend a good week or so just thinking, what have I done wrong? Like, how can I please this one person?
Yeah, whose opinion really doesn't matter, do you know what I mean? But I bet you've got hundreds of other positive comments, but that one negative
stands out, like sort of
dismisses them all.
No.
Well, we had that. Like we've had the discussion like on the last episode with Nush. Like we get stuff like I put posts out on the campaign, and it's stuff like 115 men commit suicide every week. Now, learning from that, I've been told that you shouldn't use the word commit suicide because it can make people think that it's still a crime, because up until quite close in history, taking your own life was a crime.
I still thought it was illegal.
So
personally, I genuinely thought it was still illegal.
So that's the thing. Like when someone, I've got thousands of comments and thank you for highlighting it, and you have one person that goes, well, this is the wrong word. So completely forgetting about the 6,000 men a year that take their own life. Let's just angle at one word. But you're right. Like you just take that one negative, and I know they were doing it in a way to help you, but you're like, I'm doing my best. I'm trying my best. This isn't my job.
And it's your baby as well, isn't it? It's the same with Attentive. Like, there's some people going, like, I posted a video and it got like 2 million views, and they're like, why is he walking around the woods in white trainers? Like, why are you even bothered about that?
They're my white trainers, not yours. I'll clean them.
It's not your problem at all. Like,
but that's the thing. Like, and I can guarantee you have it with your products as well. Like, when I got one of your hoodies, like for me, having ADHD, that soft feeling and because it's weighted as well, you're just like, I just feel safe. It's like getting a cover from your mum. Like, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. But my wife, she was like, I can't deal with it. Like, she goes, because it's so soft. She goes, it feels wet. She goes, it feels wet on the inside, and it's really weird. And I was like, but yeah, because you're not a neurodivergent, maybe it's doing the opposite effect. Because for us, like we just need that warm cuddle that just makes us feel better.
100%.
But yeah, like my daughter now, like, well, I haven't got the hoodie anymore. Like, Faye's taken that from me, and I'm never seeing it again.
Yeah, no, Harrison, my son's the same. He's dyslexic, and I think he's on dyspraxic most probably a few other things as well. And
they're all comorbid with each other. They all overlap.
You get him clothes, and the first thing he's doing is he's ripping the labels out, and then he's ripped all the stitching because it's all he just hasn't got. He just hates anything like that scratching on his skin, and he's.
If only there was a brand that did like kids' teeth and stuff, eh?
Watch this space.
Incoming.
That was a massive problem though. Obviously, being highly impulsive, and that when I started it, I had so many products. I was like, yeah, I'll have this. I bought that much, and then when it did start to take off, I'm like, I can't keep up stocking all these things because I haven't got the funds, because it's all funded by myself. I'm like, I can't just start stocking that because the hoodies are selling better, so I have to buy more of them.
That's it. Like, I know what it's like, because I do Fat to Fit, and I had the same problem where I funded it myself, and I can only afford to buy so much because you can't.
But you want to do it
because you want it all now, like you said,
and you want to please everyone, don't you? Like that's the thing. Like if you've got 40 different products, it's a lot harder than if you've got 10 products that are actually know that they will sell week in, week out. Yeah. But like you say, when you're impulsive and you see new things, like when you go, kids products,
air fresheners. That's why I brought you some air
fresheners, socks and bottles in it, and you just go, they all look brilliant, and they do. But
you're like in your mind, you're like, that's gonna sell,
cool.
Of course, it's gonna sell, obviously.
And then when it doesn't, you're like, it's like a proper kick in the dick. You're like, I thought it was good, that was gonna sell. In my head, it all.
And it's twice as worse because you brought it on yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
So obviously going back to, like you said, your bad mental health.
Yeah.
When was your worst time? Like, do you have
your ground zero?
Yeah, do you have ground zero type story?
Probably last year, like after I got diagnosed.
COVID type,
no. So I've just come out of COVID. Possibly during COVID, like before COVID, I got like in between lockdowns and stuff, I got arrested because I lost my temper and ended up getting arrested and smashed someone's house up, which I look back now and it's like, you're an idiot, but I understand why I did it now. So it's like, obviously addictions were...
It's not an excuse, it's an answer.
No, 100%, it's not an excuse, and I take full responsibility for it. Addictions played a massive part in that. Like, I was drinking loads. I think everyone started drinking a lot during lockdown.
Yeah. There's nothing else to do, to be fair.
There wasn't, no, but obviously
and with an addictive personality or an impulsive personality,
yeah,
you go into
it's all or nothing, isn't it? Yeah. So obviously, I couldn't drink without doing other stuff. Then when you couldn't get hold of other stuff, you get a bit annoyed, don't you? And you get a bit like...
You get antsy.
Yeah, so then obviously we had an argument, and I'm already up here then. I've got no fuse, it's game over. Lots of shit. So that was probably the start of it, sort of thing. And then I did stop drinking, ended up getting with somebody else because I've had a problem with really intense relationships really quickly. But like 3 months after,
that's a trait.
Yeah, massively.
All those love dumping and just you think those feelings are
real,
but it's just.
But yeah, people with ADHD and BPD, which we'll get onto, like we feel things so much, like probably 10 times more.
Within a week, it must be love.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so that happened. I stopped drinking, ended up getting with somebody else. Obviously, this person's like family was like big wine drinkers and stuff like that. I thought, I'll just start drinking wine. It's gonna have a different effect on me, innit? No, alcohol's alcohol. Once you're pissed, you're pissed. So I started drinking again. I was like, I'll just do it on special occasions. It's like, no, you can either do it or you can't. So me and her split up a couple of months after I got my ADHD diagnosis, because apparently all I talked about was my ADHD.
Was you hyper-focusing?
Or I've become more ADHD, but it was more the fact of I'm actually realising things I've never noticed before because of my ADHD, because I've read up on it that much.
Your eyes have opened, haven't they? You've become more aware.
And I'm trying to understand the last 29 years of my life. And you go through a grieving period, and not many people talk about that grieving period, because it's like, what if I'd been diagnosed sooner?
Yeah.
Where
would I be?
But like, I've never... Like, it was drugs and alcohol for me, which is a massive... Like, probably would never have started that, because it was self-medicating, because I wondered why. I'd sit on my phone in the corner of the room while everyone's chatting my ear off and just having a party, and I'm just, like, chilled. Do you know what I mean? But it just quieted my head down. Obviously, you start wanting to do it more then, because you're like, this is amazing, because it takes you out of reality.
And I'm guessing that you did it on your own?
Like, yeah.
You didn't need other people, yeah.
If I was out, I'd want to go home after I started doing it.
As soon as I did it, I was like, right, how could I would be that person, you know, the person that just disappears on a night out.
Oh yeah, Houdini I used to call.
Yeah, like literally, I used to do the same. Oh, right, I'm just going home. Or most of the time, I'd cause arguments, so then I could go out and get it and be on my own.
Yeah.
It wasn't for such a social drug and a drug that's associated with.
It started like that, and it started with MCAT, which was an illegal high, and then obviously that became illegal, and you couldn't get it anywhere. So obviously, cocaine was the next best thing.
And then
and 3 times the price.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think you start socially, you get, without glamorising it, you get a taste for it.
Yeah.
And then you realise, like, especially someone with a neurodivergent brain, you go, oh well, actually, I feel better in myself. Yeah, you do have this, I can take on the world, I can do this, and this. I had plans for world domination when I was on it. Like, I knew what business I was going in, what things I was going to do. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, dreams don't always come true, especially drug dreams.
If you dream at all.
Yeah, if you dream at all, because you've got to go to sleep to dream. But, it got to that point, like yourself, I'd rather be on my own. I'd make the call, get home, me, coffee table, couple of drinks.
Mate, I lock myself in the office, and then I'll sit and watch my cameras for 12 hours because I'm paranoid that someone's going to come into the house.
Oh, that was the word. Like, I was that one, the curtain twitcher that used to just any little sound outside. That was it. They're coming to get me.
Horrible. She basically spent £100 just to watch your cameras. It's like a night watch. I'm paying for.
Where was you the night watchman? They could have done that for free.
Exactly.
But yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I think with people like ourselves that have those neurodivergent kind of tendencies, it does completely alter. And like you said, there's that grieving period, isn't there? When you finally find out, like, I think everyone kind of knows. You know to an extent. You know within yourself, but It's when you get the diagnosis, when someone goes, right, this is you.
I didn't know, and obviously I hyper when my ex said it. I was like, I can't have ADHD. Like I wasn't naughty.
I was a good boy.
I was good in school, but I was naughty when I got home. But that's because I used to mask all the way through school, and then obviously home was my safe.
You were over.
That's what they say, isn't it? Like they say that I think there's a child that my son went to school with, that good at school but gets home and then smashes the place up, sort of thing.
That was me.
That was like basically it's like you let out when you get home because obviously you feel like you can.
Yeah, and even like the rejection side of it, like it wasn't even with partners. Looking back on it now, it's like if my mates didn't answer the house phone or I just found out they were doing stuff with each other and I didn't even get an invite, like I'd feel really hurt by that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like looking back, I'm like, that makes perfect sense now. But back in the day, it like made me really anxious and made me really like sad.
Yeah. And when really, like I say, it's not that deep. They were just doing stuff.
Exactly.
It wasn't even a thought. Like as a kid thought as well. No kid goes, well, maybe we should invite this person because they might feel a bit shit if we don't.
No.
But even in primary school, like I literally said this to someone the other day. I literally used to walk around the playground on days when I felt like I didn't have any friends, even though I did. But I'd sing Akon Lonely in my head.
Yeah.
Like I just walk around. I literally remember it like it was yesterday.
Please tell me in your head it was still high pitched as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's a letdown. I'm just saying. But yeah, so that kind of grieving period. Tell us, like, how did that feel to you? So you had that diagnosis. You had that doctor go, right, this is you now.
Yeah.
So what'd you do next?
It was weird. Like you sort of like, I text a lot of people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we knew that," and I'm like, "If you knew it, why didn't you tell me? Like, if it was that obvious, why did you not say you've got this?" Because the people I told, they were like, "You knew I struggled, and you knew I'd gone through some stuff," and I'm like, I didn't know who I was as a person. I tried to be everything that I really wasn't, and it was the complete opposite of who I was. Like I was arrogant, I was cocky, but that was because I had to put on a front because they didn't like who I was inside. So
did you feel resentment to people?
Yeah.
Like they'd, I don't know, cheated you?
A little bit, and to myself, to be honest, because you're like, you've done all this for so long. Like I could have had a lot of money instead of buying bottles of Grey Goose, cocaine, stupidly expensive designer clothes just to try and fit into society. Because I thought that's what people are impressed by that, and they're not.
Yeah,
probably.
That's the social media side of it, isn't it? When you see people balling it with Grey Goose in a club somewhere.
When they just drive a Ford Fiesta, do you know what I mean?
Because no one puts their bad parts of their life on social media.
And that's the really bad thing about social media. But going back to the grieving period, yeah, it was an eye opener. It was a shock. I got my medication that day, but I got my prescription that day. So when I started taking my medication, the first time I took it, well, I got started on a medication to start with. Didn't like it. It turned me a bit weird. Like I was just like it was just making me anxious and stuff. So I went on a different medication, which is Elvance, and I started taking it, and literally within an hour, my head had just gone, like switched off, and I literally burst out crying. I was like, is this how people live? Like, it's not like my head's completely quiet, like thoughts were coming in, this, that, and the other, but I was dismissing.
It wasn't like that.
I could just go like that, yeah, I don't need to deal with that, I'll deal with that at a later date, whereas it's not like 20 million things going through my head at once, and I'm just like, this is crazy. So it did calm me down, but obviously I was very hypervigilant to ADHD then, and I still had this anger in me, and it was more of a rage. So, and I'd still snap, and I'm like, there's still something not right. So a couple of months ago, I seeked an assessment for borderline personality disorder, which I did get diagnosed with because there was no way I wasn't getting diagnosed with it, because I knew I had it, because I had everything on the sheet. He was like, you've done all the hard work for me. Yes, you've got it.
Yeah.
So borderline personality disorder is described as one of the hardest personality disorders in the world to live with. It's really hard. I'm now on another medication for that as well, but it's really mellowed me out. Like I still have my ups and downs. I still get anxious, but it's not to the point.
It's not those peaks and troughs, is it? It's kind of more of a steady.
It's steady now, so I can deal with it, if that makes sense. I've done a lot of counselling. I've done a lot of therapy. Changed my diet and my lifestyle massively. Haven't drank for over a year now.
That's good, man.
Yeah, but that's a massive one. People don't realise, because I used to go out and it was like a Tuesday night. There was literally 4 people in Chester, and I'm having a massive party. We've got like £900 worth of alcohol in a booth, and there's 3 people dancing on the dance floor. I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when it comes to those addictions, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people that haven't suffered with it really understand. I think this is like kind of the message we're trying to get out. Like, I put a video on social media. Obviously, recently Matthew Perry passed away, and most people were aware of his addictions and stuff like that. And he described it as a disease, and it is medically now be classed as a disease. And you get a lot of people that go, "Well, you didn't have to." But you don't have to do a lot of things. But the fact that everyone, whether you like it or not, like, as you grow up, especially where we are, like in the UK, like we get when we're 18, maybe sometimes before, but legally when we're 18, we go to the pub and you have a drink. Now, 90% of people will have a couple of beers and go, right, I'm done, I'm going home.
I envy them people massively.
But then you get the people that have one and go, it is like a switch. It goes, that's your life now, mate. That's what that's all you can live by is this substance.
Or they've been through some stuff in their life and they've realised that they have a drink and that
goes away,
disappears, and that becomes their coping mechanism.
Yeah, and I mean, until you've suffered with it, you can't.
No.
You can't even kind of.
But you don't even realise you're having an addiction until
it is that bad.
It's really hard. Like, Dapper Laughs explains it brilliantly.
Yeah.
He thinks just because you're doing it one weekend but because you're doing it every weekend, you're like, oh, I don't have a problem with it. But no, you do. But if that's what you're living for.
But if you're living Monday to Friday to go, right, Friday night I'm going out. Exactly. Friday, Saturday night I'm going out. And then you get to Sunday night and go, oh, I can't wait till Friday night.
Exactly.
That in itself is that impulse of addiction. It just because people think, oh, well, you're waking up, getting on it as soon as you wake up.
I was at that point at some times.
But I think that's the thing. People don't see those telltale signs until it's too late. I was very good at hiding it. Like, how people didn't realise, I don't know. Like I used to go around for Sunday roast at my parents' after doing a lot of cocaine. And if you know about cocaine, once you take it, you never want to eat. Like, it
makes you feel sick.
Yeah, and to sit there at a dinner table with your parents trying to act sober and not high.
Eyes the same as the size of
my eyes are like that, and I'm trying to. If anyone's seen the Vicar of Dibley when she goes around and has like 15 different roast dinners, like Christmas dinners, it was like that. It was like, okay.
Forcing it down.
And it was forcing it down. But it got to the point where people then realised when I was was getting found like doing it every day. Oh, you're an addict now. It's like, no. Now looking back, I was like, no, I was an addict.
Yeah.
Years before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like people don't.
People glamorise it. It's like, oh yeah, I go out the weekend. It's like that they're the ones who are gonna, because they think it's this cool thing to do. And I used to think it was that, and I used to supply everybody with it because I wanted to do it. So if I wasn't doing it on my own, it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But it's not a problem if other people are doing it. And but that's the thing. You do get into that point of you become the party master. You become the person that.
I'm well renowned for my parties back in the day. But now I'm like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Look back, I'm just like, what?
When you're talking about drink, I've had struggles with alcohol. That's one of my biggest problems, actually. I didn't wait for Friday. I was doing it 7 days a week, bottle of rum a day, and
Jesus.
Yeah. And then obviously, but I wasn't addicted to drugs. I was addicted to food. So when I would drink,
you get on.
I'd get
You'd get on it, but the takeaway.
Takeaways. So I was eating like 3-4
popcorn chickens. And...
Yeah, 3-4 takeaways a day, as well as a bottle of rum and whatnot. So yeah, it's great to give up a drink. I mean, I did the same. Didn't drink for 2 years.
You all right drinking now?
To be fair, I can
take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. I don't really. If I have a drink, it makes me feel shit. Yeah. To be honest, I don't really enjoy it.
Fair, if I sniff a pint or something, I'm probably gonna get drunk off it now.
Yeah, it don't make me feel good at all. So,
but the thing is, as well, I think for you, did alcohol, was that the trigger to get on it?
Not necessarily.
So you weren't one because there's two different like.
I think I used to drink to give myself a reason,
a justification. Yeah. Whereas for me, like even right at the beginnings, then alcohol wasn't the gateway.
I can do it sober.
Yeah,
and I have done it a couple of times this year, but that's when I've been really low and really depressed, and it's because I get burnt out because I was doing too much and I didn't give myself that breathing space to go. Just take a step back. You don't have to pack 10 orders at 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. Like obviously, I work full time and I run Attentive. Obviously, my cousin wasn't working for me then, and I was like, just in fight or flight mode 24/7. So I'd just be up here. I had a boxing match to train for in March, so I was doing everything. I was just overexerting myself.
Yeah.
And the tablets sort of made me do that as well, because they give you that much motivation and energy to do stuff. You sort of. So then obviously the last 6 months I've learned to just go, no, I'm just going to chill. I need some time off.
Do you have that, like, have you started finding that it's better to phone someone or give someone a call and go, right, or do you just do it yourself?
Yeah.
Because for me, like, I'm at a point now, I'm 5 years clean, so I'm not saying, oh, well, I'm cool. Like,
no.
You put it in front of me, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like,
once an addict, you're
like,
once an addict.
if there was a rap right there, it would be very difficult.
This would be a very different podcast as well.
Yeah, it would be a very different podcast. Mainly because then my wife won't come home because she will leave me. But the fact that if it's there, there is.
Yeah,
I'm an addict.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a cocaine addict that is clean. You're not. I'm not an addict. No. You'll always be an addict.
I don't go to pubs because it's triggering. Like, I try and I found that out as well. So if I've gone out with a lot of people, like work or friends, and then I've come home to myself, I feel isolated and I feel like I've missed out on something. So then that's when I'd get the craving for it as well. Yeah. So I know pubs are a massive trigger for me.
Yeah, so if you do get those triggers, are you a self-soother kind of, you sort it yourself? Or...
I go in the cold tub now. Okay. People don't realise how much cold water is like cold water therapy. So you go in it for like 6 minutes. I can go and you start at like 2-3 minutes.
I want to get out and I haven't got in yet. That's how.
It's horrible to start with, but your body does like climatise to it. But it gives you the same dopamine hit as your first line of cocaine does. Obviously, you don't feel it and you don't feel wired off it, but it doesn't peak after 9 minutes. It slowly keeps going up for 2.5-3 hours, and that instant of getting in the cold water, it completely takes your body out of the anxiety.
I suppose it makes you forget as well. Like...
Once you're cold, all you can focus on is you're cold, so that any thoughts go out of your head. So that's one way I've done it. I've now obviously surrounded myself with people who I can feel safe around and won't judge me and stuff. Like, I've cut off a lot of friends.
Yeah, I had to do the same.
People.
Yeah, I did the same as well.
That's the thing. I think you have to change your environment. You have to change the environment you're in, because otherwise...
It's hard as well, because you obviously get people texting you going, this. We've got a raffle on. I'm like, hey, drug dealers nowadays are just mad having raffles and stuff.
Raffle?
Like, what? I'm like, no.
Oh, I've had it all now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm in that
My
mind.
cocaine tombola. No, what the
How many grams? But like, fortunately, I'm in that mindset now, and I think the venlafaxine I'm on, which is an antidepressant, but it's an SNRI, not an SSRI. That really mellows me out, and it gives me the split second to think, you don't need that. Do you know what I mean? Because back, even the beginning of the year, I was like, someone's just texted me, even though I've got rid of all my numbers. They know what they're doing, and they're doing it on purpose. And it's like,
especially when you get offered a lot of free stuff,
or a tombola. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing. Free ticket. I had the same. Like, I moved away from where I was. Yeah. I had dealers threatening to petrol bomb my house, and I'm one of those ones. I've seen them do it, so I know they will do it. Yeah. It's not a threat going to happen. So I moved away, deleted all the numbers, blocked as many as I can, but I didn't change my number.
The problem with blocking numbers is they're in your blocked list. So
So as soon as you
feel like
want it, you're like, I'll just unblock these numbers and I'll just text a couple.
And the thing is, with your dealer, you know their number.
Yeah, you know the last 3 digits.
You know the last 3 digits at worst, but that's the thing. I could phone them from any phone.
Do you know what? With any addiction, it's the same as gambling as well. Because obviously
you will get it.
They give you these tools. 100%. They say you can stop. You can stop your account, do this, do that, but you can just go in and unblock it.
Unstop it. Unblock it.
That day you feel like
Fortunately, I've never had a problem with gambling, because that again, I'd have a problem with that.
If you
I don't know what's worse, to be honest, but.
Yeah,
an addiction's an addiction. It doesn't matter whether it's even pornography. You can have an addiction to porn and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's damaging.
And it recovering from that one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's on my block list.
We've got a parental guidance for Wi-Fi in here.
Yeah, well, for the time being, I can turn it off, so it's fine. But that's the thing. Any addiction is highly damaging, and you can effectively lose everything. And that's why only in the last 2 or 3 years that I've been a lot more open and honest. Yeah. Only because I just felt brave enough to be able to say it, because I think there's that stigma not only just mental health, but addiction as well, that will always follow you. Like, and I think I've been guilty of it myself. You see someone in the office, like probably 10, 15 years ago, going to work and someone in the office, oh, you know, they're recovering, like, drug addict, and you're like, oh, I'll keep away from them. And then now you're like, why? Like that, they were.
We are them.
Yeah, we are those people.
Yeah. And we're just normal people, and probably the most nicest people, because we've been so much and we want to help others. You know what I mean?
Been through it. Yeah.
And that's the crux of it. We're trying our best just to help.
Or it's the people who don't get it, and they're like, "Oh, you're not an addict. You just come on, carry on partying." It's like, no, I've really got a problem.
Yeah.
But you're trying to just goat me into, I'll just have one. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, because it's never just one.
And then it's negativity thrown your way, and that's when you start thinking, oh, should I just do it? And it's like,
yeah, it's like peer pressure, isn't it? You shouldn't feel like you have to do
and if they're your friends, they shouldn't be peer pressuring.
Well, I had the same thing when I wasn't drinking, and they're like, "Oh, have a drink. Oh, you know," they start saying stuff to you, and they think, "Well, it's fine. I don't need to have a drink. I've gone past that stage of needing a drink. I'm quite happy having a water or a Coke or whatever I'm drinking." But it's like they're never good enough. You feel like you need to, you know, that they want to drink to please them. But you think, well,
at the detriment.
But I have that like now because I've come through it and I'm the other side and I've got the moral high ground and I'm better. Like you look back and you go, do you really need, if you need alcohol or drugs to have a good time,
you need to take a long
hard look at yourself and go, why?
Yeah.
Like
you're hiding something.
Yeah.
You are covering something up.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like Matt comes around, we'll sit there, we can drink, we'll drink a glass of water each, we'll still have a laugh. And
100%.
Because the people that you surround yourself with don't need to, because you can be yourself.
Because they know you and you feel safe, and you don't have to pretend to be something you're not. And obviously that's a massive thing with ADHD and masking. Do you know what I mean? So.
And that's the thing. Like there's those connections you make with those people. Yeah. Like you don't need to have to mask.
No.
And that's why when you separate yourself from people, like I've had people in my life that I thought, oh, they're really important. They did this for me. They did that for me. And looking back, I'm thinking they didn't. I've had people that say, oh, I had to distance myself from you when you went to rehab because I thought it would punish you because you'd want my friendship. And it's like, no, you were just saving face. What it is, you were embarrassed that you had a mate that was a cocaine addict that was in rehab and you didn't want to speak about it.
It was probably because they felt guilty as well, but that's more on them than it is about you.
But one of the people that I know distanced themselves because they were making me, like punishing me. They orchestrated the first time I ever done cocaine. They were the ones that gave me a number to get my first ever line of cocaine. So and looking back, you're like, you're only guilty because you started off. I started off because I asked them.
It's no one else's fault.
But they assisted in orchestrating what then we now know flick that switch into an addiction. So I think sometimes cutting people off, it feels painful or it hurts.
People don't want to do it as well because they're like, oh, I'm not going to have anyone. But it's like the older you get, and my mum and dad used to tell me, you don't need loads of friends. Count your friends on one hand. Yeah, I can count my best friends on like one hand.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think if you've got, obviously you can have more than 5 friends.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Those 5 people at most are the ones you can rely on, no matter
any time of day.
Any time of day, you phone them up and go, mate, I'm having a shit time.
Yeah.
You know they'll either speak to you on the phone or they'll go, right, give me an hour or whatever, and I'll be with you.
Yeah.
And you don't realise that when you're younger, you just think, oh, I've got loads of mates. I'm well popular. Yeah, but how many of them are going to drop everything for you?
Yeah. Or how many are using you? And do you know what? Another thing I've come to terms with as well. I don't mind being on my own now. I used to hate being on my own, probably.
Love it now.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's bliss. I've probably gone a little bit too far the other way.
Yeah, now recluse.
Yeah, I just don't like people, but yeah, you have to be able to be comfortable in your own head and in your own company, because the only person who is going to be there for you forever is yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think it's that support network around you that have to acknowledge that as well. Like, my wife she's a saint. Like, both of our wives are saints. What they've had to put up with, most women would have done a runner. Well, many years
or
ago.
started blaming you.
Yeah.
Started making you feel like shit.
But my support network around me, like even my kids, like if I start getting angry, like Rosie will turn around and she'll just go, Daddy, I love you. And it's like that cold water therapy. Literally nothing else matters. Then my little girl's told me she loves me. And like my wife, when I'm stressed, I go on the Xbox because it's that constant thing that will never annoy me because I don't never go on any sort of gaming online because people annoy me. So I need to be alone in that game.
You've got some 12-year-old battery.
Yeah, but it's even worse when you're stressed out and you're getting beaten on FIFA by a 12-year-old. That's
running rings around you.
Yeah, running rings around me. Yeah. So
top bins every 5 minutes.
Yeah. So like I don't know, playing like Assassin's Creed or something where I'm just there and I'm riding the horse through some forest somewhere. I'm cool. Like
It's your escape, isn't it?
Yeah, but Sophie will like make sure that Rosie's having a dinner and she'll sort herself out here. And she doesn't come in and go, well, I've been at work all day and you're sat on your backside.
Yeah, she understands.
She just knows. Like, obviously, if I take it to an extent, I'm sitting there for 8 hours.
Of course, yeah.
But it's literally my little bit of a release and she knows it.
It's your way of going and unwinding so they don't get the brunt of it.
Yeah, and I think, but it's good to have a support network around for them to go, I don't know, fancy let's go to the cinema. No, I'm all right, I just want to chill out on my own tonight. And instead of people going, well, you're boring, just go, that's cool, mate. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's...
And it's the friends who know who you're loudest when you're the quietest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Can I ask, have you actually helped have you sort of seen any of your friends or anyone sort of helped anyone out? Sort of said to them, they might have been, I don't know, as you said, they didn't tell you that they said, oh, we knew you had ADHD, you knew you had this. Have you ever spotted that with any of your friends and you sort of said to them, maybe you need to...
A few people, like my cousin's looking at me now. My cousin's... I think it's been a massive journey for him as well. And obviously I'm still learning about it. And there's signs and he's like, I didn't know that was ADHD. And I'm like, mate, you've definitely got ADHD or you're autistic or even both. Because he has days where he's just having a meltdown, but he has to be this perfectionist and have to do everything. I'm just like, take a break, stop. You're literally burning yourself out. Then the next day, it's just like, oh, I'm knackered, I'm ill. I'm like, yeah, because your body's in fight or flight. So it's just like...
And more often than not, it's flight.
Your cortisol levels are through the roof, which means your body's not fighting any infection. So you'll get a cold or you'll get a... Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Because the blood vessels are going to other parts to protect you and to keep you alive. So then you get these like colds and flus and stuff like that. And you're like, fucking, I feel like shit, I'm always ill. Because you're always burnt out.
Because you're trying to run yourself ragged.
Yeah.
But have you, when telling people or advising them, say, look, I think me going through my diagnosis, I've noticed things with you. Do you come across, has it all been quite positive? Like, thank you, Barline, or I'm guessing you've also
not
had
all the time. People are very like, there's a certain person I'm thinking of now.
Like your cousin, eyeballing her.
Nah, I'm like, I've mentioned a lot to them about, you've probably got this, and they take it as if I've just took a shit on the head.
It's like, don't take it.
And they're like, oh, I haven't got, like, it's not an issue if you have it. And I'm like, yeah, but it's an issue if you have it. Like, I have it and I'm doing the best I can.
Think about it, yeah.
Do you think they think you're trying to find stuff to then help, like, well, I'm not the only one?
Possibly, but that's not the case. I don't want anyone to have it because I know the problems you can have with it and stuff, do you know what I mean? And I'd rather people, all right, you are just anxious and stuff like that.
You're doing what you didn't have from other people.
Yeah, but I think getting the label, as people want to call it, but getting a diagnosis is life-changing. Like, for me, it was life-changing. We go down rabbit holes and stuff, but not everyone's ADHD is the same. And you can look at your traits and your triggers and it just explains everything. And it's sort of a massive weight lifted off your shoulders because you're like, I'm not just crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it explains a lot. It's never...
Makes you feel just like...
A little bit, yeah. And obviously, the further you get into your journey, everyone's like, oh, I'm really struggling with it. Like, you will for the first couple of months because everything will become more apparent. You'll be doing things you didn't even realise, but you've been doing it for years. And it's just taking that time to understand. And obviously, we want everything now. So you can't just understand it now.
Yeah, I think to an extent, like me and Matt, we're very alike with that. We've got those traits and stuff like that. That's why, like, with this podcast, we just want it to be like, we want it to be big. We want it to be big right now.
Yeah.
Forgetting that actually, like, it's got to gain traction. It's got to grow. And I had that at work. To be fair, I have it at work. Like, I tried to tell my boss, like, I can do one job, and I think, yes, I've succeeded. And then I don't want to do anything for the rest of the day because that one job, the first task on my list, I've done it and I've completed it. Because usually I've got 15 different tabs open on my computer and they're all half done.
Yeah.
and I don't really do anything, and then it gets to 4 o'clock, I go, shit. Yeah. Right, I've got to rush.
I bet you smash it that last hour.
Oh yeah, like I'm.
But that's like hyper focused to it.
Because I just need to get it
work
done.
to deadlines.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like trying to tell, I think, especially with employers and stuff, they don't. It's still a learning process.
Even GPs don't understand what ADHD is.
No.
To a degree, because they don't get taught it.
No, they're that point to just push you to someone else, to refer you to someone else.
Yeah, well, if they did, why would they just be giving everyone antidepressants?
Yeah, this is
surely, if you knew how bad ADHD can be,
I'll just throw an antidepressant.
It's not just going to throw an antidepressant, it's not going to work because it's going to numb you. Like, I found out my mum had breast cancer when I got put on antidepressants. I didn't feel anything. And I'm really close with my mum.
Yeah. I think with ADHD to an extent, like my traits, like emotion, I can't regulate it. Yeah. Like, it's not like, to an extent, but like I've got songs I will cry to, and I know they're my go-to songs. If I fancy a cry, they're my songs. But I can't regulate it in certain times. Like my wife's mum is going through it, like it's got a terminal diagnosis of cancer, and it's all a bit shit. And she's sitting there crying. Sometimes I'm upset and I just want to look after her. Sometimes I get annoyed that she's crying.
It's because you're...
I'm like,
then
you feel crap because you're like, wait a minute, my wife's mum's dying. I should actually look after her.
That's the protector in you. I think it's a bit of, you can't do anything to help that
so you're just getting angry.
So you're getting angry with life because it's like, why is life so shit? Why can't I do anything?
I just want to make it
You're a protector, you're a dad, and you're
always trying to find.
But effectively, you're a man. It's a man's.
Exactly, we are protective, and we do want to help the others. Like, I've like, with like some of my exes, it's like I'll turn on like the family members, but only for like a split second. I'm like, oh, just fuck them off, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, that's because I'm trying to fix something that doesn't actually need to be fixed. So, a way I've found now, if I do speak to people, it's like, do you want a solution, or do you want me to just sit with you and just listen?
Do you mean to be a sponge?
Yeah, because if you want a solution, I'm going to go balls deep into this solution and I'm going to find 10 different solutions.
Yeah.
Or I can just sit with you and just basically just listen to
it. I do that with my wife, and I think I'm going to have to start like saying, what do you want out there? What's the end product?
It's because you want to fix it and you're not going to fix that, do you know what I mean? And it's really difficult.
But it's like more often than not, because men and women are very different with regards to, women can just vent and they'll just go, this is my problem. And like, I don't need you to solve anything. I just need you to shut up and listen.
But people need to say that.
Yeah, that's the thing, because blokes do the opposite. We go, right, who have I got to hurt? Yeah, who have I got to go and sort out? What have I got to go and do?
That's the testosterone and the estrogen in it. Like, men have testosterone whether you got low testosterone or not. You will have that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's that problem solver kind of thing,
And you don't want to see anyone you care about hurt. And especially when they're crying in front of you, that's going to...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It is.
Like you say, it's that life's unfair, and I just want to fight the world.
This is your pack, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? This is your pack, and it doesn't matter who's hurt them. It could be the mum, it could be the dad. Yeah. Like, in that split second, you're like, oh, they're a dickhead. Well, you don't mean it, but because you're so annoyed and you're so enraged and you're so overwhelmed because you can't do anything to help your wife, when really all she wants is a cuddle.
Yeah.
But in that moment, we don't think.
No, I've just got to go and hurt someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's
just a man. That's just being a man.
Yeah.
So on back to your brand again quickly before we finish up stuff, where can people find, if they want to go and order some of your...
Yeah, so it's on the website, so www.attentiveapparel.com.
On Instagram as well?
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We've also started a YouTube channel as well now, where I sit and talk to family members or people I've come in contact with through Attentive about how ADHD has affected them and what problems they've dealt with and stuff like that, because it can affect everyone in different ways. So hopefully that resonates with more people as well. Attentive.apparel is the tag.
Yeah, you did a limited one, didn't you, for cancer research? Is it
so I released a pink hoodie. I've had them for months. And obviously, like I mentioned before, my mum had breast cancer, so I wanted to release some on Wear It Pink Day. So we sold 20 between that day and the end of October. So sent £100 to Cancer Now, I think it was called.
Yeah, no, it's nice. That's really good. That's really good.
They're pretty decent hoodies, to be fair. Like, well, if I ever get mine back, then it might be a decent hoodie. But till then,
yeah, I would have brought you to one, but we literally don't have any in stock. We're literally waiting for a massive.
When that pink one comes in, I'm having that one. Like, I'm having
your daughter's definitely having that one off you as well.
but that might just that might get me white one back.
You can have this one back now.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been amazing having you on. It's been amazing chatting. And yeah, like as we said, guys, if you want to get some merch, I'm sure we can point you in the right direction. We'll put all the links in the bio and stuff like that. But yeah, appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Me. Cheers.
Thank you.